I am gaming. I am gaming. I am gaming podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Ivica. Thank you so much for being on the latest episode of I Am Gaming Podcast. It's a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, and gaming nostalgia. This is episode 47, and like always, a huge thanks to all of my Patreon supporters. If you would like to join them, please check out the link in the description below. Also check out my book on overcoming procrastination on Amazon. This episode is going to be all about Cyberpunk 2077 and the mandatory crunch that the company decided to place upon its workforce. This is a horrible, terrible, really tragic news for everyone working in game development. Many outside of game development are probably trying to figure out what the hell is happening, but in short, the entire team working on this game, a highly expected game, is going to get a 6 workday week, meaning that they'll work from Monday to Sunday. What a wonderful turn of events, like in the great old 19th century, you'll get one day free. Also, they're going to work nights, so they're going to get longer work days, not 8 hours, but more. All of this happens after top people from the studios on numerous occasions said that there won't be any mandatory crunch. The studio already had this problem with the project of the Witcher series. This is of course CD Projekt Red. They tried to address the problem. Now all those years later it's back in the exact same form and shape, which is super tragic and horrible for everyone working there. Now there is a lot of discussions going out and going about from different kind of corners of the IT sector, especially from people who are not in game development, thinking and trying to figure out why is this any different to crunch time and stress and pressures outside of the industry or in any other industry. Why is this different from people who make buildings or books or cars or any other project that has a direct product that can be late, that has to be sped up and brought to the original release course. In case of Cyberpunk 2077, that release date is November 19th. The game was already in development for a number of years, and the release date was pushed back time and time again. Now, along with the crunch, and it appears that the whole team was already crunching before this happened, there will be a mandatory one now that is basically used to find glitches, give a lot more polish to the game, and balance some of the mechanics. That's all going to happen. The game is going to come out even on November 19, or maybe it's going to get pushed back even later, and still everyone is going to go and crunch over there. And it's going to come out like any game with more or less bugs, more or less problems, and more or less unpolished gameplay mechanics. That's completely normal and expected. But what's the big problem here? Now I won't go into whole discussion why is crunch different in the gaming industry than any other industry, and pressures are different there. Like, for example, if you're a fisherman catching king crabs in the Bering Strait, that's a completely different kind of a topic. What's important to me is to kind of address the notion of you, me, everyone having an industry that openly presents really unfair practices. So you're forcing your employees to do longer work days, to give you more work days, everything that was probably covered in their contract in some shape or form, but is definitely unfair practice because no one wants that. There's the possibility of that, but now you're using it basically as a regular but different management tool that will allow you to squeeze more out of your workforce. The same would go for saying, hey, you work 7 days per week. That's probably impossible from a legal standpoint because you, under Polish law or any other law, need to have at least one free day during your work week. But it shows that CD Projekt Red is now taking something that they promised directly not to use and use it as a normal tool in their management toolbox. And while this is happening, there is absolutely, as far as I can see, no discussion about how the consumers can react to an industry player that is presenting unfair practices. Now, the clearest, easiest, most balanced answer here is to say, let's boycott the game. Not buy it, basically. Let's create a boycott and never buy a single copy of Cyberpunk 2077. There's this sense that gamers don't care if this happened, this product came about through crunch, or if it came about through fairer practices. But that's not true. Every consumer cares about the process that brings about product they're buying. Information about the creation process of any individual clothing item is in the mind of a consumer, and when this happens, the people making the same items, probably in a third world country, in an underdeveloped country, in a poor country, get gradually better conditions because the company doesn't want to face the backlash of the users, of their customers. This needs to happen in the gaming industry as well. I'm not saying that everyone should boycott Cyberpunk 2077, but for starts, everyone should have in mind that this game will come out through unfair labor practices, and these are something that's endemic to the gaming industry, and many other companies do it, but it's important to focus on this company right here. And if enough people focuses on that, if they have it in mind, I'm sure that some kind of a indirect solution will be found, because the company will feel the pressure. Right now it's already feeling the pressure of the media coverage, but that shouldn't be enough. They're probably hoping, the management is hoping, that the media pressure will last for a week and then dissipate. Instead, that same awareness should be ongoing when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077. This is one of those moments when I don't offer a solution, but I'm pretty sure that if enough people identify the problem, that's the start of the solution. It's not a boycott, it's not directly saying to the employees unionize and create a strong union and then go to strike and stuff like that. That will be a part of the solution at one point, maybe not in this form, but in some kind of a similar but importantly different shape as a union. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not pretending to understand how they feel, how they behave, how they think about this problem. When I say they, I mean the employees of the CD Projekt Red. But I'm sure that they need our support, even indirectly, even through the notion of we keeping tabs what's going on, if we engage in social media conversations about this problem, to keep the story going, to keep the story alive. That's an important and useful thing we can all do to help people in this company. And I'm pretty sure they need our help, and that help will be welcome. So keep the story going, keep following the story, keep searching out new information, keep mentioning it on social media, and do your part to keep the whole process in the public eye. Through that awareness and exposure, I'm sure that things can change for the better. That's all from me for this episode of I'm Gaming Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being on my channel. If you're a first-time viewer, first-time listener, please subscribe. I would love to have you around for more such topics as this. And of course, check out my Patreon page. If you like to support small podcast content creators, your buck would be more than welcome. Also, if you found this interesting, please share it and leave a comment or your take on all of this. I would love to hear it as well. That's all from me. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode of I'm Gaming Podcast. Until then, bye bye and have a great day.